Presently, silver price is going up and up. And you might be thinking it is because of the Samsung's new battery invention. Because in newly invented battery, it is required to use 1 kg silver per battery. Or you might be thinking it is because of the demand of the AI chips. But let me tell you, none of these are the reasons. Reason is far more complex and it is going to change the future. So bear with me until I complete my story. So back in the days, if you want to know the silver price or gold price or price of the any metal, then you had only two locations in the world. First was the commodity exchange, which is in the New York called COMEX, and the second commodity exchange, which is on the London called LBMA. So if I want to know the silver price, I will go to the LBMA and they will tell me what is the today's silver price. Okay. Even if any other country in the world open their own commodity exchange like MCX from the India or Canadian commodity exchange, then also their prices will be the similar to the LBMA or the COMEX. Okay. But when China opened their commodity exchange, the game was rigged. China opened their two commodity exchange. First was the Shanghai Gold Exchange, which was SGE, and the second was the SHFE, Shanghai Future Exchange. Okay, so here China was paying premium for the metals. That means if I'm the miner and I am selling my silver to the, let's say, USA, then they will pay me the $200. But if I sell that same silver to the China, they will pay me 200 plus $10 or $220. That means they were paying around 8 to 20% premium for the same metal. And what happened because of that? Suddenly, all over the world, whatever the miners are, they had extra incentive to send their raw materials to the China instead of saying sending to the USA or the London. And because of that, there was the oversupply in the China, and because of that, there was a shortage in the all over the world. Hence, there is an oversupply in the China. What China did is they started heavily investing into the machineries or plant which were responsible for refining and processing the metal. And let me tell you one thing, China's today capacity is it can refine or it can process world 60 to 70% rare earth. World's 60 to 70% rare earth. That is the today's capacity of the China, and they have invested like billions and trillions of dollars into the creating infrastructure which can process that single-handedly. So now you might be thinking, okay, that is not possible. Numbers must be something wrong. Like China, instead of buying stuff from the world, China must be mining themselves. So let me tell you one number. So out of 100% silver mined globally, only 24% is mined into the Mexico, 13% mined into the China, 13% is mined into the China. Peru accounts for the 13%, Chile 6%, and Poland and Russia 5%. And whatever is rest is from the like all over the world. Okay, so China is accounting only for the 13%, 13%. Okay, still China is capable of refining world's 60 to 70% of the rare earth. Okay, and that's why China can dictate the pricing. So your next question might be, what on earth was thinking other countries before sending all raw materials to the China? Let me tell you one thing. Let's say if I have the mine into the Canada or America, I can mine, but I cannot extract. Why? Because if I try to extract, it will emit toxic gases, toxic chemicals, and due to environmental regulation, or I must say strict environmental regulation, US's companies are not allowed to do that, or Canadian companies or all other companies all over the world are not allowed to do that. So that's why they ship their dirty concentrate or ores to the China to refine it and process it so that they can get the fresh extracted metal. Okay, and that's where China was winning the game, because now China has control over the 60 to 70% of the world's rare earth. Okay, but you might be thinking, okay, that's why China is dictating the pricing, China is playing with the world. No, there is more. So we just talk about the refining capacity of the China. Now let's talk about the ownership game. Okay. So China has a companies called SOE, means state owned enterprises. These are basically government companies which is funded by the Chinese government. And these companies are not investing inside the China. They are investing outside the China. For example, in India there is a one gold mine, let's say. Okay. So Chinese company will come there and they will acquire 51% stake into that gold mine so that they will become the decision makers and they will influence the decision, and it will basically make that Indian company to send their ores to the China. Okay, so this is how they are dictating the game. And let's say if there is any company in the world which is basically refusing Chinese investment, then that's where the puppet game starts. There are some puppets of the Chinese government which are investing. These are the like individual investor from the China, so they will approach you and they will pay you like 20-30% premium price from the market, and they will acquire major stake in the mining company, and they will then started influencing the decisions of that company, and again they will ask the company to send their ores to the China. And that was the second step. Let's say there is a one company which is refusing the private investment, which is refusing the Chinese government investment. Then there is a third weapon of the China, which is machineries. Okay, so whatever the machineries required for the mining all around the world, there are two monopoly companies which are providing that machineries. First is basically SMY, and which is basically owned by the China, and there is a second company XCMG. Okay, this is owned by the Chinese government. So basically they will start weaponizing that. Okay, if someone like from the India wants to some machinery for mining, they will provide those machinery, and after some time they, if there is any maintenance required, they will not do the maintenance or delay the maintenance. Okay, that kind of stuff will happen. So eventually they will come to the like decision that okay, let's send our ore to the China also, because the whole world is sending it. Okay, so this is how they are creating the influence all around the world and making sure that China will get unlimited supply of the raw rare earth materials, so that China will be only one player in the world who has the refining capacity and who will keep refining until 50-60 years in the future. Now you will think that okay, whole game is rigged, China is winning everywhere, the game is done. No, let me tell you one thing. So if there is any company which is not falling into the trap of the China, for example Indian company called Tata Steel, okay, which is producing the steel. Okay, so if that company is not taking any kind of investment from the China, not taking any individual investor from the China, then what Chinese company will do is Chinese company will provide the tax cut for their own companies. Okay, so there is a one tax in the China called VAT tax. Okay, if Chinese company wants to sell goods to the Canada, India, or all around the world, they have to pay one tax called VAT, and that tax is 13%, 1 3. Okay, now let's say Tata Steel is competing with the Chinese company. Tata Steel is able to sell the goods on the same price as Chinese company is selling. Okay, then what will happen? Chinese government will give the tax cut or tax rebate to Chinese company, so that Chinese government will refund that 13% to the company, so that that company will reduce the price of the goods. Okay, and basically they will dump the cheap price goods into the market, and that will become the problem for the Tata Steel. Okay, and this is how basically Chinese government is trying to crush the competition, even if there is a one competitor exists in the country. Okay, and this is how they are dictating every single thing. Now you might be thinking, okay, the game is done now, there is nothing more. But let me tell you one thing, China is going one step further. Recently there is a policy in the China, basically it is government policy. They are basically saying if anyone wants to buy rare earth metals from us, then they need to get the license from the Chinese government, then only we will sell that. Okay, completely fine, countries can get license to the Chinese government, but the problem is Chinese government can reject the license, refuse the license, delay the license or delay the renew of the license. Not only that, if there is any critical metal like let's say silver which is being used for the weapons also, then in that case if someone wants to purchase the silver from the China, they had to give the explanation in the return where that silver will be used, and then only Chinese government will decide whether to sell you the silver or not, because they have 70 to 80% control over the whole supply of the rare earth. And this is how the game started. So recently there was one announcement from the Chinese government starting from the 1 January 2026. It is required to give the explanation before buying rare earth like silver or any other metal which can be used into the defense applications. Okay, and that's why the silver price is going up, because even if the world realizes China is messing and weaponizing this rare earth, then also world cannot do anything, because to create infrastructure for mining, to create infrastructure for the refining, it takes years and billions of dollars in the investment. Okay, and then only we will be able to produce and refine that metal locally, but that requires significant amount of the time. It might be 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, we don't know. And that's why all around the world there is a no other option than China, and that's what China is weaponizing. They are basically increasing the commodity prices now, and that's why you see silver price increasing. Now don't get confused, like silver is basically captured by the mainstream media, that's why you see the silver price going up and there is a news also, but in reality all commodities are going up. Copper price is jumped 5% today only, and 5% 4% yesterday only. And not only copper, nickel, zinc, lead, every single commodity which is like rare earth and can be used in the weapons, can be used in the industry for the manufacturing, all those commodity are getting expensive and expensive day by day, and we don't know where it will stop. And this is how the China is manipulating the world, by weaponizing rare earth. And trust me, all of these rare earth price are going to be up like crazy. If you're watching this video till the end, that means you are that guy which is really interested into the investment, money, and basically whole geopolitics thing. And this channel is only designed to serve that. Okay, I can give you knowledge, but the only thing you need to do is click on the like button and subscribe button. Then only I will be able to deliver knowledge to you. So make sure you do that. And thanks for watching. See you in the next.